And welcome back. My next guest is Alan Dagistino, the president of the Vietnam War. Sorry. Welcome back. My next guest is Alan Dagistino, the president of the Vietnam Veterans Association of Rockland County. Welcome, Alan.
Welcome. Thank you.
So thanks so much for being here. And Alan, we're going to talk a little bit about the VVA, of Rockland County, and some of the things that they do. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about yourself for the benefit of our viewers. Where you were born, raised?
I was born in New Jersey. My family came to Rockland County in 1955, and I went to Haversham High School. Mm-hmm. I entered the military in 1966. I joined the Army. For the extra year, I figured I could go to Germany. Mm-hmm. So I did go to Germany, but we went to Vietnam first. So I went 2 tours. I had a tour in Vietnam, 67, 68, and in 69 I was in Germany. And I experienced the Tet Offensive in 68. It was a big campaign.
Right.
So
what rank were you in the Army?
I got out at E5, Sergeant E5.
Okay, and you served in the Army and as a sergeant, and we could talk about the Tet Offensive too. I'd like to hear some of your experiences there, but just talk to me a little bit about what that was like, because the war was ramping up at the time that you were getting in, was really kind of ramping up. Probably that was the height of troop involvement in the 60s, right?
That was basically, Hanoi gave us their best shot. And we held the areas fine, and I felt that would be the turn of the war, But, when I got out in 69, it still continued, and the Vietnamization of the war, which means the Vietnamese taking over different positions, I guess it never really worked out. And then we just left, right. Thinking that possibly they could handle what we laid out for them, kind of taught them how to do the job. It didn't really work out, very political.
Right.
But, we went on with our lives. I went
But before we get to that, just talk to me just briefly about your experience. So you experienced combat, obviously.
Yeah, the entire country was getting hit from north to south. I mean, it was, like I said, Hanoi was doing everything they could. This was their big movement. They even had told the NVA, which is the Vietnamese regulars, when you get down there, the South Vietnamese will probably join arms with you, like a propaganda. It never happened for them that way. We did lose the Saigon compound for about 45 minutes. And then we got that back. But it was chaos from the Mekong Delta all the way up to the DMZ. In other words, it was their best shot, everything that they could possibly do. And we held, because we were pretty much dug in, We've been there so long under advisory, and then rebuilding the country, building roads and building, different base camps, and had airstrips all over the place, and we had great air power. And from the 7th Fleet, and we're very organized. I was very surprised the way it turned out for us.
Yeah.
But that's war,
Right.
But it was hot there for a while. It was pretty hot.
And when you left from Vietnam, then you went to Germany?
I went to Germany, Hanau, Germany. I was there for a year, and then I mustered out. Yeah.
So what was Germany like at that point too? Because that was also kind of
the height if you remember the height of the Cold War, Czechoslovakia had a problem. Prague, we were on alert.
Right.
And they would generally play war games over there to rehearse. And then all of a sudden, I get over there and they have the real deal.
Yeah.
So that was, no matter where I go, there seems to be a conflict.
Yeah.
And that was tension, because you didn't know what the Russians were going to do, and But again, they were very organized in the European theater.
Right.
And it was different type of, it was cold instead of being warm, and a beautiful countryside. You didn't see too much destruction like you did in Vietnam. It was a third world country that had destruction, and it was Germany. The people were civilians all over the place, and it was almost like New York State. You know. So it was two different parts of the world, totally opposite. You know, it's a great education for me.
Right. And so then you muster out. What'd you do after you got out?
I got into Orange and Rockland Utilities. I was there 38 years, retired a foreman. Went to RCC under the GI Bill, and furthered that to a SUNY school. And you know, I took the business like everyone takes, and then eventually I got more into the engineering, more of something that would be in line with my job in the gas department. You know. And, you know, like I said, 38 years there, you know, we did a good job with the community. All during that time, we, veterans who came home got into different veteran organizations, and we got into Chapter 333, started by Jerry Donnellan in the late 80s. In fact, we just had our 30-year dinner. In fact, I'd like to give you this. This is a small token far as esteem. This is a challenge coin for our 30-year anniversary, and here's our booklet. We appreciate the support that Clarkstown gives us.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm currently the president of Chapter 333, and it's been a great 30 years. You know, we just had our celebration. We help with veterans in the community. We have scholarship programs. And we have hand cycle programs for wounded vets. A lot of the Afghan, Iraqi guys are coming back, and gals, with limbs missing and everything. We have special cycles for them that we've been giving away. They are custom made for each patient. And we have great things in the community. We have a color guard that marches in a lot of the parades to show the community who we are. But our scholarship program with RCC and with the North Rockland Junior ROTC, a lot of the young people really appreciate what we have done for them. We have a Ricky Brown Memorial scholarship that we just started a couple of years ago. Ricky Brown was a personal friend of mine and a Vietnam vet who was killed in action. He was from Stony Point, New York. And all in all, we have a very, very good organization. You know, we're tied into the community. We have a memorial park in Orangeburg that's like a mini wall with 46 names of the killed in action from Rockland County. And we're renovating that because that's been assembled in 1992, and we're trying to get it almost maintenance free. So now that we're getting to our 70s, we don't have the wherewithal to keep the maintenance up. So we're trying to get things ready. And we have a program that we have many of the public buildings in Rockland County bearing the POW MIA flags, which we're very proud of that too. Right. So
the VVA, and especially your chapter, is just incredibly active within the community. You guys do a whole bunch of things, and it's you know, you'll always have the support of I know myself and the other members here of the town board in Clarkstown. Just incredible stuff that you guys do. And I think the important thing is that these veterans organizations really provide an outlet and an opportunity for vets who can really, they come home, and you know, more so in your case, you know, with Vietnam, you guys came home and you weren't really welcomed home with parades. You know, you were kind of welcomed home with some scorn and derision, and you kind of went on with your life. But you know, thankfully the vets today, as they're coming home, you know, people are mindful of their service. But you know, it's the same old story. Vets pull back. They don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want to, you know, every show I have a vet on, and it's often like pulling teeth trying to get them to talk about their experience. They're happy to talk about what they're involved with. They're happy to talk about what they're doing now, but very often vets don't want to go back and talk about what can be a very painful and traumatic, you know, time in the military. And that's why we're seeing this issue with vets that are kind of disconnected, and these veterans organizations, hopefully we can try and get more vets to become involved in these different veterans organizations so that they have an outlet and an opportunity for connecting, because there's nothing like a vet to a vet with the connection. I didn't serve in combat. I didn't serve in the military. I don't have that direct experience. I can have sympathy but not empathy because I didn't go through that. It's great the work that you guys do, and if someone wants to learn more about the VVA, how do they get in touch with you guys?
They could contact us online, Vietnam Veterans of Rockland County, and we have the post box there from the New City post box. If they want to come to our meetings, is at the Kearsing Edwards American Legion post the first Thursday of every month at 7:30. They're welcome. Even if they're not a vet, they just want to sit in and see what we're all about. If they want to do volunteer work, help us, with the hand cycle program or the scholarship program. We take volunteers on. We do the street fairs and set up booths, and sometimes in the mall we'll set up a booth. And we are a band of brothers.
Yeah.
We kind of stick together. We have Agent Orange screening that Jerry Donnellan helped us with, the clinic in New City.
Mm-hmm.
There's post-traumatic stress disorder, which is what you talked about. A lot of us, when we came home, it was a harsh experience. Some guys went through more coming home with someone degrading them, and it was traumatic. When you speak in rap groups and talk to them, they'll be more traumatized with that than they were actually on the things on the battlefield.
Right.
So, but we have great programs for our veterans, and it's all veterans. I mean, you go to the clinic. There's still some World War II guys, Korea guys that served in the Cold War, and they have a great system for all veterans' health needs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really great.
Right.
A lot of times down the road, you'll find you have post-traumatic stress or some type of other issue, a cancer or something, that because you were sprayed with Agent Orange that they had in Vietnam, you might have an issue 25 years later.
Right.
So it's good to, you get screening, and you have good health services there for us.
Right.
And I have to say, when I came back, I had certain harsh feelings and things that I experienced, but Orange and Rockland had a program in the late 60s to hire the vet,
Mm-hmm.
and I took advantage of that. And, that was great. I could think of, maybe 20, 25 Vietnam vets that started in the 60s and early 70s, stayed, had a job like that, you stayed. And then when I went to RCC, there was a lot of guys that were going through the GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
So you connect within the community, you connect, and you find there's other brothers and sisters out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was girls in the war too, and you'd be surprised, our ladies, they stepped up for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great, and that's how you join the organizations and you find out who's in the community, and then you find out, wow, I was over there at the same time. I'm surprised I didn't run into you. And
Yeah.
it's nice,
Mm-hmm.
It's things you never forget, and you get friends for life.
Well, again, if you could just, we're about out of time, but if you could give the contact info again, if
Okay.
somebody wants to.
Vietnam Veterans of Rockland County, Chapter 333. You type anything in close to that, you'll come up with our website, VietnamVeterans.com or Chapter 333, and it gives you our post box or anything that contact phone numbers, gives you some of the things that we've done, what we're going to do, and we're solid in the community. We're happy to be here.
Well, Alan, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the medal and for the journal. And commemorating the 30 years that you guys have been in existence here in Rockland. But more importantly, and for also being a great guest. But more importantly, I want to thank you for your service to our nation.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Coming up, Clarkstown Councilman Peter Bradley. Stay tuned.